Monday, February 19, 2018, take one. Glad to see you all here today. I can't wait to get started. Could we have your papers, please? Man, Jared felt confident this morning. No email.
Oh.
Without being recorded.
Okay, is that all? Is that all the papers? Is that all of them? Is that it?
Well, Kevin said he emailed his. I got it.
Once we're done with the interviews.
Seems like
Wait, am I?
What happened?
Kevin working for the CIA this morning.
He's got an ear infection.
Busy.
Oh, man.
Rush, so they decided to extend it.
That
and that's why they had a year
stinks.
in.
Yeah, right.
Okay,
My best guess is
before we get started in earnest,
Great, I wanna be here.
It should be
we
done
have,
next
we're gonna have homework next Monday, and it's kind of long, so we're gonna work on it a little bit in class, so it kind of rewards those that show up. What else? We're gonna have a 2-minute or longer AMA, which means ask me anything in a chord context, or any context actually. Anything means anything. All right, Jared.
Okay, so for a 1/6 chord as compared to a 1/6 chord, what is the correct doubling?
I think the root, number one.
For either instance.
No. 1/6 chord.
Okay.
Okay, 1/6/4 chord, it's always the bass, which is the fifth.
Okay.
There's very rare instances that you don't double the fifth of a 6/4 chord, any kind of 6/4 chord. And that's when it's not dissonant. And what is it when it's not dissonant? It's a product of an arpeggiation. You see what I mean? Okay, if I'm just like C, G, all in the C chord, this G doesn't sound dissonant.
Okay.
So that's a tonal 6/4 chord or the product of an arpeggiation. And just to be sure, I'll play that example instead of singing it. That 6/4 chord doesn't sound like. See what I'm saying? It doesn't sound like a cadential 6/4 chord or passing or anything. There's the 6/4 chord, but because we have the context of the one chord, it's doesn't matter what you're doubling there.
Okay.
Now in a 1/6 chord, mainly we double the root unless it's a 7 chord. Secondarily, we double the bass unless it's a 5 chord. Are they equal? In a basic voice leading pattern, no. Doubling the root is the first choice. Is doubling the bass wrong? No. Perfectly acceptable.
Okay.
Doubling the fifth is just not acceptable unless it's a 6/4 chord.
Okay.
Okay? That took about 2 minutes there, so thanks, Jared. Any other AMEAs? AMEA is state educators. AMA on a chord. We good? You know all your chords, you can put any group of notes together and determine what chord they would be in what key at this point in your lives? Or are we not to the point that we could ask such a question? Okay then. Okay then. Why did someone steal my bench? I put that bench together with my own hands.
There was a crazy piano in here, I wrote it. Or put it there,
If
whatever.
those people took the bench with them, we need to first decide who to blame. That's always what you do in academia. Find the blame. Any other questions before we move on? Tests seem easy to you? How much were they worth each? 3 points? 2 points? I didn't put, each chord equals 2 points. 2. Doesn't take long to find mistakes. All right, I'm gonna hand out the homework for the next time, which is Monday. And let's take it as a point of review to see if we can understand everything that's going on the PEST. No, wait, HOMEWORK, homework. Okay, the first example is an unfigured bass that we're going to write 4-part harmony to. Thank you, Smokey. The second is more traditional, but you get to choose the voicing of the first note, which is, I think, rather liberal of me. Could you hand that over to our missing one? Well, I can see evidence of the freshman getting taught, can't you? Got this red, it's the Christmas cantata. Okay, so the first example is in F minor, and it modulates to A flat by the 4th measure. And then on the second phrase, it modulates from A flat back to F minor. Now, if you were thinking about this in terms of a simple continuous binary piece, this would be the second phrase and the third phrase. The second phrase, and then there's the double bar, and that's the phrase that we modulate in. And then the next phrase, the first phrase of the B section, that's where we modulate back to the opening time. Okay? Do you understand that? Next line. Doesn't seem very difficult. Okay, just looking at line 2, is there a German 6th chord in example 2, not line 2, example 2? And if so, what is it and where? So, is there an augmented 6th chord? A. B. What kind of augmented 6th chord? C. Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego?
The German is
Anybody got it? Anybody got it?
C sharp.
Okay. I think German is correct. So yes is the answer to A, correct?
Okay.
Yes, there is an augmented sixth chord. Has everyone found the augmented sixth chord? If not, what would you want to be looking for? If we're in the key of G minor, we want to be looking for an E flat in the bass with something that says /6 underneath it. Now, just because it says /6 doesn't mean it's an augmented sixth chord. It has to be built on top of the E flat. If it says 6/5, it's probably the country of Bach's birth. If it says 6/4/3, the country of Debussy's birth. Or do you prefer Debussy?
Debussy. Which one is it?
Somebody will tell you you're wrong no matter what you say in the world of music.
Is it the last,
About anything. Yes.
the last chord of the second last measure?
Dun dun dun. Or, you know what we could say? The last note of the penultimate measure.
What?
And it is a German sixth chord. That was pretty good. Do we have any augmented dang it, that was the last question. Do we have any dissonant 6/4 chords, and if so, A, yes or no, B, what are they, and C, where are they?
Yes, 5/6/4 second beat of the first note.
And that is what kind of 6/4 chord?
It is a dissonant 6/4 chord.
I agree. Of the four dissonant 6/4 chords, which one is it?
Passing.
Passing over stationary gas. All right. Any more?
There's a potential 6/4 right here.
There is a passing over cadential 6/4, yes. That was an easy one. Everybody got all that, right? Okay. Is there a deceptive motion in this piece? Is there deceptive motion?
Second measure, third beat.
Dun dun dun! 2 to 3 beats 2 to 3. So what are we gonna double there? That's right, G. All right, now we're gonna flip the page. Realize the following figured bass examples in 4-part keyboard style. Man, I wish I hadn't have provide a Roman numeral
Why did you
analysis.
put that?
Huh?
Why would you do this? I can't believe you've done it.
Well, I'm gonna leave it in there, so you're gonna have to do it. And it has to be perfect or I'll count off 9.5 points.
No.
Okay, the first example. Is there an augmented 6 chord in it? And there is. What is it?
First beat, second measure.
And it is what kind of augmented 6 chord? German. Next line. Is there an augmented 6 chord?
Yeah. French.
It is French, the country of Ravel. Or do you prefer Ravel? Third line. Is there an augmented 6 chord? No. There is deception. Yes.
Is the second line supposed to be, the second beat, is that supposed to be Is that's in major?
Well, we're in the key of C major,
Okay.
yeah. Why don't we look at that one? That we could do that quickly. We can knock that out of the park. Part 3, that's on page 2, the second line. Let's just do that together. We'll do it,
Which one are we doing?
in the one in C major, the second example on page 2. It's not hard. I'm gonna choose the third to start. Choose.
Gesundheit.
Huh?
Gesundheit.
Speak American on here. Not happy with this marker. Before it gets thrown towards Christian, we're gonna check the next marker to see if it's any better. And it is. Okay, better put the glasses back on, Christian. You going?
Yep.
It's the little things in life that make it worthwhile. Like my salary, that's a little thing. You do know that mainly in music, you don't make very much money? Do we understand that? Okay. Some people make lots of money in it, but it's not really a musical thing, you know? It's more of a, or maybe I'm just jealous. I am. If I could write something that would make money, I'd probably do it. Well, I've done a nice job with that, haven't I? Okay, what I would do here is definitely not double the bass note, because that's a 5 chord.
Is it bad to double the G and like on the bottom octave? Like in okay, that C go down to G as well.
So you would have this.
Yes.
I think that's fine.
Okay.
I think no, I think they're equal. They may not become equal, but currently they're equal.
Okay.
And I think even doubling the D would have been okay too. I don't think I could find much to count off on that B except some kind of keyboard issue or you double the B. That would get up.
Parallel octave. That was.
Yeah, that would be bad.
That's what I was saying. Okay.
I get a lot of that. Okay, we'll proceed, hopefully. Now, this is the note that's gonna go up to C, but then it's not. This is gonna become 5/4, okay? But we all knew that, right?
Yeah.
So we're just gonna, so I think what I would probably do is just come right back from whence I came. Now here, I probably could have other options if I used this version, which just got erased. Now this only has one version, that's that. This is the Frenchy. Now, I'm gonna take this F sharp, F, and make it F sharp, because it's not practical to make that F sharp on first glance. It may in fact become, but what I'm looking for is the most seamless way to do this, and I would probably choose that there. Easy enough to cadentially 6/4 this, and if we did that, I think this would be a good realization. Okay. Are we all good with that? Because I can do it another way.
For the 4/6 chord, could you voice it from the top FCA?
No,
No?
no, never. Never. You cannot double the bass there because then you have not resolved your dominant 7/4 chord.
Oh.
I get that a lot, and I'm always like, I'll censor what I normally think. It's like, what have I been doing all year? Other than resolving dominant 7/4 chord. So, no. If this is your locally tonicized note, F, 2-to-1, 7-to-1, 5-to-5, 4-to-3. That's the only thing that can happen in an inversion of a dominant 7/4. If this goes up to A, it's just another day of my sad life. That's what it is. It's usually Tuesday when I'm grading. Okay, any other questions? I know that sounded kind of mean, but I did say it with a smile on my face, didn't I?
Yeah, I felt really good.
Woo! Okay, let's hear a little bit of this, cuz. Any questions? I'm hoping that seems really easy now, that this would just be something that's totally in our wheelhouse, and we can do this all with perfection, with joy in our heart, and a skip in our step, although it's very hard to part right while you're skipping. When you're teaching children things on the soccer field, the first thing you have to do is teach them how to skip. It's just some boys, it's just all, they can't get the, you know, they look like that in ballet class too sometimes. You gotta like, okay. You got it? This one. But then, so much joy can be opened up once you can learn to skip. Skipping. It's good exercise too. You get way high in the air.
Just make a montage.
We good with this one?
Mm-hmm.
You want to do another one?
Mm-hmm.
Who can tell me what a CT
That's
little thing?
what?
So close! Who can? Yes.
What?
Yes. Common tone diminished 7th chord. This is when a fully diminished 7th chord does not function in a what capacity?
Normal?
Dominant.
That was great. I got to do like a happy puppy there for a minute. which is much better than, although very cute, is what I get out of my students often. Did I turn that on?
I think so.
Oh, I hope so.
I really
did.
hope so.
For all sorts of
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
reasons.
We're halfway there. We're halfway to our goal of attendance. Okay, good. Okay. Woodwind section, not so much today. Well, you play the saxophone, right?
Yeah, that's what
I mean, who, I guess Adolph Sax is the answer. Who thought that putting a reed on a brass instrument would be a good idea?
Adolf Sax. Sounds like Adolf Hitler's alias.
Yeah, Adolf is not like a real popular name
No.
anymore. I mean, it's just one of those names you just can't get back.
Jezebel. Trump.
Let's move on. Okay, common tone, diminished seventh chord. What happens in the common tone, diminished seventh chord? Let me ask you this. I'll make it simple.
Alright, common tone.
What is the common tone?
the
That's a word.
time.
In this case, yes,
Tonic and
yes. The root of the original chord is, it doesn't have to always be on 1. We often see it on 1 and 4, mainly. And we don't see it that much. It's just one of those things that you should know what it is. Now, let's see if I can get back up. Whew. I was a catcher through my days of youth. Tough on the knees, but even tougher, 3 concussions.
Ah.
Not a face.
And stayed in the game every one of them.
Why?
That's the way we did it back then. Spit on it, rub a little dirt on it, and you're brain. Funniest one was, I was really into fielding the position, and once there was a pop-up between me and the pitcher, so of course I went for it. And I sprint out, don't even pull my mask off, reach my glove out, and I hit the pitcher dead in the chest. Who caught the ball?
Oh wait. No,
I'm knocked out,
Oh.
totally out. I come to moments later, not minutes, but seconds later, and there's this ring of people around me looking at me. I jump up, break through the crowd, run to the fence, and start scaling the fence. And I'm like, whoa, hang on.
Why?
Fight or flight. It's your minute to fight. I really was up the backstop. Why I chose the backstop, I don't know. That was a little awkward, to say the least. Now that the first one happened when I was only like 7. Guy hits the ball into the woods. They're already beating us like 35-0 or something. They don't allow such things anymore. So I'm standing by the plate. The ball is in the woods. It's not, I'm just standing there. My dad was our coach. The kid who hit the home run, much more talented. Father was their coach.
Wow.
He wipes me out coming to home plate, knocks me flat out. And I come to, and my dad and this other man are like chin to chin, you know, I'm like, whoa, what happened? Very weird. He said, while he was covering the plate, where was the ball? Well, still hadn't found the ball. Okay.
What was the other concussion?
What? Oh, that wasn't playing catcher. That was playing batter.
Oh, what?
Took a ball to the head.
Oh.
Oh. Was it not helmets?
Oh.
No helmets.
Yeah, we had a helmet, sort of, but I was standing on first base and didn't know how I got there. No idea. Because like, you need to come sit down. No idea. Most startling concussion, I probably told you that. I got hurt in a warehouse once. That was fun. Okay. This was the way it was working at Scientific Atlanta. We're gonna move the warehouse shelf pallet holder 2 feet this way. So that takes the entire crew of men. So they take everything off except this one 20-foot long antenna in a wooden box. So. One, okay, we're gonna go on 3. 1, 2, that's all I remember. So what happened was, when we pushed it, the antenna came straight down, and the guy next to me caught it, tearing his arm out of his shoulder, and it hit me on the back and threw me into the beam.
Oh.
And split my head open.
Wow.
So I missed all that part. But when I came to, you'll like this part, because I've certainly discussed boxing with you before. When I came to, had the gloves up, the elbows in, chin down, and I'm circling down. Who hit me? Who hit me? So then they're freaking out, and they lay me down. And I'm kind of coming to then, and they're like, oh, he's going to go into shock. Raise his feet or raise his head. Feet. Okay, what now? Call 911. Oh yeah, we can do that.
Right.
What else?
Concussed.
Cover me. They start throwing like all this trash at them. Just plastic crap and card. What? Use your coats. So then I think, well, I'll just take a moment to discuss their administrative techniques with them. So I start cussing out the management like crazy. And they're like, yeah, we know it's going to be okay. You don't have to worry about that right now. I'm like, no, didn't let it go. So they hauled me to the hospital in the meat wagon and put 220 stitches in my head. And that was that. Then they gave me a job watching someone else assemble cardboard boxes. That was my job.
I want that job.
Doing fine. They offered me a really good job too. They're like, no, man. I had a year between my college education and becoming a musician again, and it was a really huge education for me. Along with the concussion and the 200 stitches. I learned many things. I learned how to sell door to door. Went to jail a couple times in that capacity. Wrong neighborhood. That was pretty funny. Okay, have we done the common tone diminished seventh chord? Let's take the one in A flat. Well, that seems like the hard part. Okay, so the key thing here is to determine the two things that are being leading tone. All right. So it's not this note, all right? It's these two notes. So the first thing we want to do is doubly chromatically neighbor the third and the fifth, okay? The last thing to do is make that A flat be a member of the community of this fully diminished seventh chord. Now, what would that be? F. Now, there are two ways, both of them correct, to resolve this. These are going to go back from whence they came. Now, this can also do that, but it's also very likely that it would double the fifth there. Either way is considered correct. Now, often if you have this in the soprano, if we did the same thing in the soprano, also acceptable to go back from whence it came, but let me play this for you and your ear will tell you that yes, I recognize that as a thing. So if I'm in A flat, okay, here's the first example. So when the A flat is in a middle voice, it really makes sense for it to come back up. Now here's where it's in the middle voice and it goes down to E flat. Has a little different sound, but essentially it's more the same. Okay, now with the A flat, it's a little bit more startling when it's in the soprano. I'll take that an octave up so it's easier to hear. So you have this dee-da-da kind of progression as opposed to I think you would hear it both ways. So, the thing that cannot change is this. Okay, that has to be there. And then you can get a little country tuning there. I write very good country music, but only when I'm driving through Nashville. Any other time, not good. But one thing that I want out of Nashville is to get out of Nashville. I don't like Nashville much. I used to work there as a consultant. I think, Nashville's called Music City, and to hire a man from Alabama to come up and consult with them they're just embarrassed to ask anybody in Nashville. So I would say things like, yes, you have a ground hum. fix that for you. Made a lot of money fixing ground homes. Now more of the way. That, do you think you could do that other whole one by yourself?
Yeah.
No? Yeah. Yes, Jared.
Would it, do you think of the common tone as the 7?
Absolutely.
Okay.
To make sure.
I'm just making sure.
Yeah, I don't, you know, the reason we talk about the common tone diminished seventh chord is because it's like a music theory chord outlier. It does this one specific thing. Even where you have like the Neapolitan sixth and the 3 augmented sixth chords, those are outliers, but they have a lot more things that they can do. Whereas this just does the one thing. Does it happen very often? No. Why do we discuss it in theory? Is because this is what people know. People know these things, so you need to know these things. What do we do in the college music theory program or the high school music theory program? We try to establish a common vocabulary between all musicians. Can you be a musician without that common vocabulary? Certainly, certainly. But you just can't talk about it with other people in the same way as people who are educated in music theory. Can you be a great performer or even in some ways a great educator? Yes, I think you can. I think music theory is an end unto itself. I don't think it has other purposes. I think it is what makes music the most powerful and special art of all, particularly in the Western art music tradition. And things are changing, and these boundaries are opening up. But we can look at the beauty of the common tone diminished seventh chord. We can look at this chord for as long as we want and derive aesthetic pleasure from the building of that chord or the shaping of that resolution. Or we can look at a piece by one of the masters or even a non-master and just see, oh, this is beautiful. I can look at these 3 chords for as long as I want and come to some understanding and find the beauty in that. And then yet, at the same time, as a real-time event, we can hear music in the real time and be moved by it aesthetically and have a beautiful aesthetic experience to it that's lasting and forever. And that's what art music is about. It doesn't have to be reinvented all the time like commercial music does. Commercial in the word itself is once you sell it, you got to have more to sell. It's like why bombs are so nice. Once you blow it up, you got to buy another one. So think of pop music as the defense spin of art. Blew that song right up. Okay. Here's your choice. We can do another of this together, or we can quit. Your choice.
Well,
Jared votes. Yes, Jared.
I just have one question.
Okay.
So in the second to last example, it ends with a 5 to 1.
On the second page?
Yes. It ends with 5 to 1. So
Yes.
it's okay to go 2 to 3 since it's
Absolutely.
not 5 to 7? Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
The thing about 5 to 1 is it's not the same as 5/7 to 1. The difference between 5 and 5/7 is the tritone.
Right.
And the tritone drives all of that. And it really drives all of tonal music after some date, this date in time changed to the tritone being important. Before that, they called it the devil's interval. It's true, it was called the devil's interval.
That's three.
And hell is filled with people who
Tritone?
use the tritone. I avoid it. I mean, I just don't want to take any extra chances. Okay, shall we do one? Which?
First one.
Ooh. Oh, gee, come on now. Okay, let me tell you what we need to do on the first one. We have to have a common chord modulation. Où est le common chord? Or where is the common chord modulation? Where would it happen? Look at measure 3. Dun, 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 dun. That looks like A flat, yes?
Yeah.
Yep. So that ain't where it's happened. So where does that happen? It might have to be that chord. It might have to be the D flat, or